The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Coming up tonight, former Deputy Prime Minister Desmond Bannister questioning a payment method at BPL, asking if the new method means Bahamians end up paying more. We talk about that tonight, also tonight. Bannister has been vocal in his support of rejected former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis, saying Minnis will win regardless of who he runs with in the general election. Well, the question tonight, does Bannister himself still plan to run? Also, reporters pushing Prime Minister Davis to name the PLP's slate of candidates. It's no secret the governing party plans on not running some, while others have already stated their intention not to run in 2026. So, who's the chosen 39? And the DNA, yes, you heard me, the Democratic National Alliance says it is sitting out this election. You heard me right as well. It's all straight ahead for you this evening. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. Well, the Bahamas Power and Light is investigating what is a flaw or appears to be a flaw on its online payment portal. What the portal says is all amounts must be paid in US dollars. Now, while executives are looking into fixing this, former Deputy Prime Minister Desmond Bannister brought it to Beyond the Headlines' attention and also wanted the matter addressed so that it can be changed immediately to avoid people potentially paying more when they pay their bills online. We're going to discuss that, but more importantly, get into some real issues on other things that he's been more vocal about in recent days, of course, politics. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines. Good evening to you, Mr. Bannister. Thank you very much for joining me here on the show.
Good evening, Shanique. It's good to be here.
Yeah, let's just
Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. It's good to have you here. Let's just talk about something that I've already gotten answers to. In fact, just a moment ago, Minister of Energy Jo Beth Colby Davis says she's happy that this was pointed out. She is not aware of it, and it is being investigated. But how the site looks now, just explain how potentially Bahamians could pay more if they choose to pay their bills, their BPL bills online.
Well, Shanique, I'm happy that you indicated the minister is responding very quickly.
Yeah.
And that's what public service is about. Paying my bill this morning, I looked at the BPL site, and it said that note all amounts are shown in US dollars. That would have been a concern for people who pay for credit by credit card, because then you'd have a conversion issue with your bank and you'd actually pay more money. But as you indicated, the minister has indicated that she is going to look at it and act promptly, and that is why you give service, to be able to respond to queries and to be able to do something about it. So I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, I am too, to kind of add that to this discussion, because there was a question that you had and you wanted addressed now for a minute, and you said you even tried to pay today and you really noticed it, but she responded just before we came on live. So
that is wonderful.
Yes. I want to ask you, and you're an outsider, I'm not saying that you have any insight and know what's happening, but your thoughts about, and maybe the timeliness too, or the necessity of the energy reform that's currently happening in BPL?
Anybody and any government that seeks to make a difference in the efficiency of the provision of energy in the country and the cost of energy for the Bahamian people has to be applauded. And so wherever I see any time government takes steps to make a difference, I think it's very important. We sought to make a difference based on what we met when we came to office, and we made a tangible difference. Now another government is seeking to take it a step further. I'm very pleased to see that. I just hope that it continues as they have planned, it would be good for all of us. And I think it's important for us to be mature in public life, be mature in what we do and what we say about things, and not simply just pick up on little points. Let's see what can be done for Bahamians. That's very important.
After all, that's the most important thing. Bringing relief to Bahamians who, whether it's the power bills or inflation in any other area, if you can bring some ease, that's the most important thing.
That's why you're supposed to have gotten into public service, to make things better for the people in our communities who are out there every day trying to survive. And so I'm pleased to hear that.
Well, listen, it's surprising. You have been very vocal recently. We're shifting gears now to politics. In fact, we saw photographs of you.
I have?
Yes, you've been quite vocal. We saw photographs of you from Friday evening, Saturday, Sunday, and here on this network, Monday, as well as in the dailies and just all over. You attended an event Friday evening in the Kalani constituency. You live there as well, Kalani, yes?
Yes, I voted in Kalani.
Okay, so you went to support your member of parliament?
Absolutely. And there's no question I support him. But before we get into that, let me just congratulate all the candidates who were ratified. As we indicated, getting into public life is about service. And I want to commend all of them for putting themselves out. Everybody will face criticism. But at the end of the day, somebody's going to win, someone's going to lose. And those who win are going to have an even heavier obligation to serve. So let me commend them, especially my good friend Ellsworth Johnson.
Were you surprised he got the nod?
Ellsworth is a man who stands up for whatever he believes in. And I'm pleased to see that someone like him, who does not sit on the fence and who does not mince his words, that he was nominated. I'm pleased to see that.
What do you think about some of the other familiar faces? You intentionally pointed out Ellsworth Johnson, but there are other familiar faces who sat around the table with you.
There are people who served in the cabinet with me who are nominated, and there's some new faces. I'll tell you what, I'm particularly impressed with Ms. Boodle in North Abaco. I saw the service that she gave as a public servant, and I'm really, really pleased to see her being nominated and coming forward in this aspect of public service. And to my former colleagues who are nominated, I wish them all the best. Whatever feelings one may have anywhere, I wish them the best, the very best.
Speaking of, what are your thoughts on the Free National Movement right now? You obviously are not very pleased because you've said, listen, I support Bannister. Bannister's been kicked to the curb by the FNM. And so you came out bold, volunteered this information and say, no, I stand behind him. And wherever he run, how he run, whatever color he wear, if he wear a color at all, he will win. What are your thoughts on the Free National Movement right now in this dispensation and the way it's sort of showing up?
I was always taught to speak truth to power. And I'm not going to say something that I don't believe in. I support Dr. Bannister. I made a note, Shanique, and I want to just run this by you. I made a couple notes. I want you, and you could tell me what you feel about it. Shanique wants to be Prime Minister, okay? So she really, being the smart person that you are, and the popular person you are, you're elected as party leader. And you say, listen, I've got to win more seats than the other party in order to become Prime Minister. So I find my candidates. You select your 17 candidates, your first 17. Chairman comes to you and says, leader, the first shall be last and the last shall be first, so you need to go and get into that last group. So you look for this last group. One of those persons in that last group. Person has won his seat 4 consecutive times. Never, ever lost an election. The person is affluent, so you don't have to find no money to fund their campaign. Is a former Prime Minister. Okay? He gave you your first real opportunity to run in a winnable seat because you never had an opportunity to run in a winnable seat. And that's why you lost 2 elections. and he wants to run again. So you have two choices, Shanique, as the leader, and I want to ask you to put these two choices to you, okay? First choice, you could get jealous and you could say, this man is going to overshadow me if I choose him. So I'm going to appoint a vetting committee, and I'm going to tell him that he's got to go through that vetting committee. And on that vetting committee, I'm going to put two people who actually went to the Governor General to have him removed as party leader. And he has to go to that vetting committee, okay? And then I'm going to tell him, you don't go to them, well, I'm going to reject you, and you're not going to run to this party. That's your first choice. Your second choice is, and you're too young to have been around in 1980, but let me give you this. And this is what I saw as statesmanship in politics. George Bush and Ronald Reagan had a tumultuous campaign to run for the leader.
The Republican Party.
Yes, to be the candidate, the Republican candidate. And the things that Bush said about Reagan, I could remember them because there were so many of those things. In the end of the day, Reagan won. You know what he said? You gave me such a fight. You're a good man. And this is what I'm paraphrasing it. You're a good man. I want you as my vice president. So he made Bush his running mate. Reagan had 2 terms as president, with Bush as the vice president, and then Bush had a term as president. That's 12 years. That is by being, not being petty.
Being mature.
That is by being mature in public life. So you have a choice. Which one would you take?
I think I would follow the Ronald Reagan example that you gave. So you're saying that jealousy has Dr. Minnis sitting at home tonight looking and eating curry fish?
Listen, I'm saying in politics, it's about numbers, and you have a candidate who's proven himself and won, and continues to win, and who can do the things that have to be done. And if you really have a big tent, you put the personalities aside, you put all the personal issues aside. This is a man who's been a minister of health, he's been a minister of finance, he's been a prime minister, he can contribute. And you know what? In a campaign, a candidate, a leader is pressed because he has to be in all these constituencies. You could say to yourself, I am not going to have to be in Kalani.
And that one.
I'm not going to have to be in Kalani because I don't have to worry about that. I'll go in the other constituencies. That one, we can chalk that up. He's going to win that. So I have to speak truth to power and speak truth anywhere. And there's no way that Dr. Minnis should not be a candidate for the party that he served as Prime Minister. He served as Minister of Finance. He served as Minister of Health. And you could see the work that he did, and you could see the accomplishments of this country. And so it is not an anti-FNM thing that I have. It's being taught by my mother and the teachers I have that you stand up and you speak the truth. It doesn't matter how it affects you. It doesn't matter who criticizes you. You speak the truth about how you feel.
But the FNM said in one of its news releases that, listen, the Bahamian people soundly rejected Dr. Minnis. A lot happened during his administration. He probably had to work harder and lift more than any other prime minister. There was Dorian, I think it was another storm before then there was the pandemic. And they said, listen, all that right there is just too much. Therefore, the Bahamian people said, listen, dude, hit the road, go home. So they're saying the same thing and taking on a new course.
We had Dorian, which was the worst Atlantic hurricane in history, the worst. And we had another hurricane before that basically demolished Ragged Island. What did Dr. Minnis do? He warned the Bahamian people. He flew them into Nassau, away out of the storm's way. And when the storm was gone, he flew them back home and started repairing. If you go to Ragged Island now, you'll see the solar energy array there. You're going to see the most impressive school in the country there now in Ragged Island. You're going to see things in Ragged Island that you could have never imagined happening there. Contrast that. And I have to speak truth to power, and I have to say this. You have an evacuation order. The Prime Minister says evacuate these areas. A minister decides he's not going to evacuate. What happens to him and his life in danger? We had a pandemic
Wait, hold on, slow down.
where the world shut down. The world shut down.
No, I want you to slow down for a minute.
As a pandemic.
I know about the pandemic, but I want you to slow down.
But let me just go on to the pandemic.
You don't slow. You don't try. Listen, this is my show, you know. Go ahead, sir, because you're trying to say the area. Because I remember that minister, who I think his first floor was flooded. We saw the videos went viral. So you were saying that that minister was told to, sir, you could possibly be in the line of fire here in terms of this storm. Please evacuate with everybody else.
I'm not saying anything personally about anybody. I'm saying that this is an evacuation area. You set an example as a minister, you evacuate, just like everybody else. Don't put yourself in danger. I'm not going any further than that.
Well, monkey.
We had a pandemic where the world was shut down. All of us were sitting home watching people die. I think we had 7 million people die around the world. No tourists were coming to the Bahamas. The airlines weren't flying. The Bahamas was able to survive with minimal deaths. The hospital was overloaded. We had to put tents outside all around just to accommodate people. And in the face of all of that, Dr. Bannister stood up and did what he had to do to save Bahamian lives. How is that a bad thing, Shanique?
So you are saying whoever the decision makers are to say, listen, Hubert Minnis, we don't want you, we don't need you, your time is done, go, that they are in error.
I'm saying that we have a unique opportunity to provide a former prime minister who has served with dignity, who has given wonderful service to the Bahamian people. We have a unique opportunity for him to continue that service in a constituency that he has never lost over a period of 20 years.
Does he still enjoy, and we know what we saw on Friday evening, we know what we kind of see playing out, but you would know really, because number one, you are a resident.
Well, I don't speak for him.
And no, I don't think you speak for him. I'm saying you as a constituent now and a resident. So you're a resident, you're a constituent, and then that's your friend. Does he really enjoy support and popularity in Killarney?
I think the figures tell you that. I mean, it shows you that the people in Killarney appreciate what he has done, the innovative programs that he's brought to his constituency and what he does for his constituents. And because of that, the FNM would be making a serious mistake if they decide that they're going to not run Dr. Minnis.
I thought they decided already.
No, but these things are always subject to... See, remember now, I gave you the example of Ronald Reagan being a real man and saying, listen, you really tested me. We had debates, we went at each other. At the end of the day, though, you mean well for the United States. I want you there as my point man. If something happens to me, you'll become president. I want you as that person. That is a real big man. That's a real man. Understanding that you want the best people there. You don't want yes men. You don't want yes women. You want people who are going to make a difference.
Were you trying to secure a nomination
No.
ahead of 2026?
I decided not to.
You sure? They told you you better sit this one out too. I believe they told you, listen, don't even try it.
No, I think that some people wanted me to be part of that. I decided not to.
You decided not to. Does Dr. Minnis plan on launching a new party?
No, I don't speak for Dr. Bannister. Whatever he does, I've been able to work with him through the years in 2 cabinets. And I know whatever he does is going to be in the best interest of Killarney and the best interest of the Bahamian people.
Desmond Bannister, former Deputy Prime Minister, former Minister of Works, Minister of Education, and what else were you Minister of? But listen, thank you so much.
Sports and culture.
Oh, really?
Legal affairs.
Okay. Well and accomplished, I tell you, worthy of giving his opinions here this evening. But I thank you, sir. Thank you very much for coming on and speaking even a little bit about energy as well at BPL, of course, as Minister of Works. Thank you so much for stopping by and sharing your thoughts, particularly in this political season, on some political issues that are very, very topical. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for inviting me.
Looking forward to speaking again at another time. This is Beyond the Headlines. We're just getting started. When we come back after this break, the Hot Topics panel join me, and I will hear what they have to say about some of what he had to say, and of course, a lot more. It's all coming up right after the break.
Calling all contractors, your exclusive priority access to Grand Bahama Tile's pre-independent sale begins Monday, July 7th for one day only. With personalized service, come in and enjoy all the discounts at your leisure before the crowd arrives. See you Monday, July 7th for your exclusive pre-independent sale access.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is now City of Hope, creating one of the leading cancer care and research networks from coast to coast, providing more of what you need. More locations means more care closer to home. More specialists means more expertise. More research means more breakthroughs. More advancements means more treatment options. And more options means more hope. Call now to get more of the care you need.
Comfort Suites Paradise Island is the best-kept secret in the Bahamas. Located directly next door to the Atlantis Resort, you'll receive all the privileges of an Atlantis guest with all the benefits of a Comfort Suite stay. Enjoy everything Atlantis has to offer, including Aquaventure Water Park, plus all the amenities of Comfort Suites. Free Wi-Fi, free breakfast daily, and kids stay, play, and eat free. Visit ComfortSuitesPI.com.
Welcome to Blissful Escapes, where luxury meets affordability. Whether you're seeking relief from aches and pains or simply looking to indulge in some well-deserved pampering, relax and detox in our infrared sauna. Enjoy a soothing Swedish massage or an invigorating exfoliating body scrub. We also provide advanced facial treatments using cutting-edge technology, including hydrofacial, microneedling, and microcurrent therapies, located at the shops of Cable Beach Plaza.
Welcome to Paradise Premium Foods, where exceptional taste meets everyday convenience. Right in the heart of Hurricane Hole Plaza, whether you're planning a beachside brunch, an intimate dinner, or simply restocking your favorites, we offer only the finest selection of local and imported goods, handpicked for quality, freshness, and flavor. At Paradise Premium Foods, shopping is effortless, service is personal, and every visit feels like a treat. From gourmet meals to go to organic essentials and indulgent treats, this is your neighborhood market elevated. Live well, eat better. Discover Paradise Premium Foods, now open at Hurricane Hole Plaza, Paradise Island. Paradise Premium Foods, taste the difference.
Win a brand new 2026 GAC MPOW every week for 5 weeks. Every 10 reward points earns you 1 digital entry. The more entries you gain, the better your chances to win. 5 weeks, 5 cars. Will you be one of our lucky winners? Catch the keys today, only at Island Luck. Island Luck reminds you that it's only a game, so game responsibly.
If you enjoy watching Beyond the Headlines, take advantage of our exclusive offers with 4 15-minute interview segments at $1,200 and 20 30-second TV ads at $2,000. Contact 557-0258 or 557-0259 for more information. Go beyond with Beyond the Headlines.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. We have a lot to get to in this segment of the show. Of course, if you're just joining us, you missed at the top of the show, former Deputy Prime Minister and Cabinet Minister Desmond Bannister are being quite candid about a whole lot of things as it relates to the Free National Movement and other topical issues. We're going to jump right in right there. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines. Our contributors, Leslie Miller and Ellington Ferguson. Gentlemen, good evening to both of you.
Good evening, Shanique. Good evening, Bahamas. Certainly, it's a pleasure to be here once again. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. Absolutely. Gentlemen, yes, sir. Good evening to you, Leslie. Gentlemen, your thoughts on what the former Deputy Prime Minister Bannister had to say as it relates to the minister nomination or lack thereof, and the fact that, you know, he's not been quiet about that. It's not the first time he's voiced those types of sentiments. But your thoughts on all he had to say?
I think, as always, he have been very candid. He's never was ashamed or afraid to speak to something. And I can remember even during their last administration in Parliament, speaking about his level of honesty and frankness in speaking, even when things were levied against the opposition that were not quite correct. He came up when it was to the then governing party's advantage, but he came up and corrected. And so that is the type of person Desmond Bannister is. And I can really appreciate the things what he is saying. And it's unfortunate that others are not paying attention and the leadership of the party is not giving attention to it. I think Mr. Minnis again has been handled in an unfortunate manner, being the former prime minister, having done the kind of things that they've done. Minnis, whatever the reason that they're saying that they don't want to be associated with him, they were all a part of his cabinet. They were all supporting him 100%. I mean, I never saw a case where they went to cabinet and they didn't bomb on the desk and in support and all of that. So no, I think it's unfair because of the fact that the party was voted out, that you run against the record that you were touting when you were in. I think he alluded to some of the things that Mr. Minnis has done. He had a tumultuous hurricane, and then we had the pandemic, and I think nobody have had to navigate those kind of situations before. And we've got to give him some kudos for being able to navigate the country through that. Anybody can speak in hindsight and say, well, we should have done this, or I would have done that. But Dr. Minnis and Dr. Minnis, for the work that he has done, has been recognized internationally. Universities were calling for him to speak on how he handled, how he navigated through both a devastating hurricane and then right on the heels of that worldwide pandemic. And so some credence, some kind of credit ought to be given to him for that. And so I support what former Deputy Prime Minister Desmond said. I think he's spot on with that.
You know, we have said over and over that the situation with Dr. Minnis and Mr. Bannister was just petty, senile politics over and over and over again. Here was a man who just 4 short years ago was the Prime Minister of Commonwealth of the Bahamas, Deputy Prime Minister of the Bahamas, Minister of Works, and a member of their own party who held a cabinet post the same as those men as Minister of Agriculture and Marine Resources. The minute he got to the top of the plate, he decided to reject 2 men who had a massive contribution to make on behalf of the Bahamian people for gross pettiness because of his belief that they would outshine him, that they would produce more for the people than he can, that they had the wherewithal that he lacked, that they had the statesmanship and the leadership abilities that isn't within him. So what he does, he casts them aside. And that's what is so painful to many people in this country, including myself. That's why I said the current leader frightens me, because anyone who could stoop to that level to try to degrade men and women who made a contribution to our country is a dangerous human being. Very dangerous.
Leslie.
I'm scared of the man.
Leslie, why are you afraid? There's no
politics of this country. I'm telling you, I went around Mr. Ingram, Mr. Linden, all the great ones. But this guy frightens me because the level that he will stoop to, okay, is what frightens me. And if he can do it to his own men, what do you think about average, ordinary Bahamian on the street? That's what frightens me, man. I'm really scared. I'm honest to God. He's a family member of mine.
And Shanique, if I
But
may,
it frightens me.
one thing that former Deputy Prime Minister Desmond brought out, and I think is, I would go as far as saying is despicable. So here is persons that basically led a coup against the former Prime Minister, and you can put those persons now for him to go sit before to be vetted. Come on,
It's
please.
an insult.
That's an insult.
Gross insult.
That's
But
an
that's
insult.
how you demean a man. That's how you bring him down to his knees.
And I want to say to the Bahamian people,
Okay.
this is the person, this is the person that is vying to be the next leader of this country.
That guy scares me.
No, Mr.
His
Pinto,
attitude
we
scares me.
got
Scared the hell
to
out of
be
me.
fair,
Well,
and we got to do better.
Let's talk about the person in the chair right now. Prime Minister Davis leaving reporters with more questions than answers, they're saying, on when the governing Progressive Liberal Party will make its candidates who will contest in the 2026 general election known. We get the story from Jose Etienne, and then, gentlemen, we come back and talk about it.
It's official. Candidates for both the Free National Movement and the Coalition of Independents have been rolled out as election season kicks into high gear. But now all eyes are on the Progressive Liberal Party. The governing party has yet to unveil its slate, even as it prepares to make its case for re-election. Reporters pressed Prime Minister and PLP leader Philip Davis for a timeline, but got this response.
In due course.
When asked to weigh in on the FNM's first batch of candidates, the PM kept it diplomatic.
Happy to see that they could field candidates.
But that contrasts sharply with Party Chairman Fred Mitchell, who didn't hold back, describing the FNM slate as
really underwhelming. And I feel sorry for Michael Pinton. He just doesn't have the soldiers to go to war with.
Meanwhile, inside PLP circles, talks are intensifying. Several incumbents, including Alfred Sears, Basil McIntosh, and Sylvanus Petty, have confirmed that they won't seek re-election. Others are hoping to hold on, likely in the seats they currently represent. But party insiders say the writing may be on the wall for some, with signs pointing to events like the PLP's Eastern Link-Up recently held, where selected parliamentarians appear to enjoy strong grassroots support. On the flip side, though, Golden Isles MP Von Miller is facing rumblings of pushback from constituents and remained tight-lipped when asked about his future plans. And then there's Southern Shore's Member of Parliament Leroy Major, who recently came under fire for comments suggesting that backbenchers are being sidelined. It's unclear if that outspoken moment could cost him his spot on the slate. Meanwhile, veteran politician Glenys Hannah Martin, whose constituency is considered a PLP stronghold, has yet to signal her next move. Jose Etienne, Eyewitness News.
Now, gentlemen, this is the question I truly want to know, because the governing PLP is the government, is it necessary at this very moment for them to point out who their slate will be, or is it in their best interest to stay the course and continue working?
Shanique, this is the governing party. They are in governance. These are members of parliament. Many of them, most of them, are cabinet members. I think a governing party doesn't have to, at this juncture, especially they're going until sometime next year for a general election, to interrupt cabinet ministers and to make them a lame duck, so to speak, to say, well, this one ain't going no next year, this one is not going in the next general election.
But
I think the government need to be
members of
getting
parliament
on.
who are questionable, because wouldn't they need the same opportunity to go and familiarize themselves and make their case to whichever constituency they would have intention of vying for?
I believe, and a birdie on the ground tell me, that the Progressive Liberal Party knows the members that they're going to cut. They knows the persons that are not running again. In those constituencies, they has persons going around, talking, working in the constituencies, feeling out. All, of course, like for example, Alfred Sayers, who's already stated that he's not going. Also, Basil McIntosh. There are persons already moving in those areas and beginning to talk to the residents. I don't think for those that are in cabinet and all of those type of stuff, you don't need to make lame duck and don't need this big announcement. For the most part, 9 out of 10 times, the majority of the governing party is going to be running again. They're going to cut some of the fat with some of those other members, but the majority is going to be running. So they're not in that position as an opposition or other fringe parties to select candidates and to get them known to the people. For right now, the Progressive Liberal Party candidates, the majority of them are already known to the people. The people are going to judge them on their record. They have to go to the people, not promising, they have to go to the people with their record, what it is that we have done. And so that's why you're not going to see a whole lot of early selection, because there's not a whole lot to do.
You know, over the last 50 years, the process of picking candidates has been very simple. They are selected one night at the council meeting. The Prime Minister comes with a list and says, these are our candidates, and you fight it out in the hall as to whether John or G should be that candidate. There's no need to say now who's not going to be there. Three or four have already indicated they're not going to run anymore. Fine. Those who were there know exactly what transpired as to why they may be on shaky grounds, and we see what was going on. But most of the candidates would be renominated for their respective seats. Now, as he said earlier, and I said on your show many times, it's difficult now to go and say a guy is good or bad because he now has a record. You got to go on your record now. You can't say this fella can be good or this woman can do a good job. The public is already saying, what are you doing for my constituency? Since I put you in, what did you do to advance our cause? The process takes care of itself. And I suppose we're not going to have election this year. Some people say it might be. But that time will come when you go before the committee, the candidates committee, and they will decide who's who. And sometimes I've seen things change the night that they present their group. I saw it in 1972, the night of the long knives.
Of course, you had your share of that, Leslie.
And I had my share too. In 1982, when I was a candidate, and they cut me down, and you come back fighting. So it's a normal process. You just got to be strong enough to take the blows. And of course, you got to give some back. Let the fellas know that you was there. So when they come back, ask you again.
Ask them what that scar for.
Know you get them back.
Yeah.
This was my philosophy.
Well, gentlemen, listen, if we can quickly get this in before we go to the break. One third party says they're out. This despite hitting the ground running in 2012. But after 3 unsuccessful election cycles, its executives say they're hanging up their political hat for now.
But their leader dumped them.
Chanel Longley has the story.
Their leader dumped them. Put a woman in.
It's not the position you typically hear from a third party ahead of an election. They're usually the most hopeful and optimistic about their chances. But Democratic National Alliance leader Stephen Nesbitt says he and the party's executive council have made the hard decision to sit this one out, underscoring the real hardships associated with starting and maintaining a political party in the Bahamas.
But we don't have the money, my sister, and I don't have that type of the testosterone or testicles to send my people out there, knowing that they're going to lose.
The party burst onto the scene in 2012 under the leadership of former F&M MP Branville McCartney, but took a beating at the polls for 3 consecutive elections. The last race in 2021 was fought under then-leader Orinthia Komolafe, who resigned just 3 months after that election, having shouldered the party's finances, communication strategy, and operations almost single-handedly. She was recently asked about the DNA following her ratification as the F&M's pick for Carmichael.
I wish everybody well, but of course at the end of the day, I want the win column to say that F&M Carmichael is there and that all of my colleagues are there and the F&M is restored to office.
Since 2021, the party has faced even more setbacks, including the death of 2 key members, former Deputy Chair Hilary DeVoe and faithful supporter and financier Chris Mortimer. Nesbitt says the DNA considered merging with other third parties, but again, funding remained a major hurdle.
We calculate at least $10 million minimum to launch a national campaign.
And McCartney and Komolafe aren't the only notable names to have walked through the DNA doors. Current National Security Minister Wayne Munro and former F&M MP Mark Humes were also once affiliated. Nesbitt revealed the party even reached out to Humes following the 2021 election.
Right 2 days after the election, myself and his entire team met with him. Came in, wanted to, say y'all talk with me. I don't mind coming in, but y'all gonna make me leader. I was like, you can join the party, but how you going to make you leader?
He says the DNA has also grown wary of the toxicity and mudslinging that's come to define the political landscape, something the party doesn't support and won't engage in. But Nesbitt says this isn't the end, just a moment to regroup, promising that the DNA will be back and stronger. Janelle Longley, Eyewitness News.
The Hot Topics panel will respond to that when we come back right after the break. Stay close.
It's not the position.
The internet isn't just for surfing. There's a sea of shoppers buying online, and you can connect with them on Tingsy. Tingsy is the SBDC's online storefront built for Bahamians. Take your business to the next level by selling to customers online, both at home and around the world. People want Bahamian things, and if you got things to sell, sell on Tingsy. Find out how you can connect with a sea of buyers by visiting tingsybahamas.com.
As we continue to develop the orange economy of the Bahamas and empower our artists and artisans, we as a government intend to show tangible support. We are therefore requesting our Bahamian artists and artisans to submit images of their handmade, authentically made Bahamian products and prices as we move to produce a live digital booklet with Bahamian-made works. With the creation of a live booklet, artisans can always submit new works to be included. It is our intent to use this book as a catalog for the purchase of items by all senior government officials for gifts, display items, and the like. Ministers, permanent secretaries, members of parliament, and ambassadors will be supporting our orange economy by the purchase of items and in sharing this book to the wider global creative community. We are committed to grow and expand the orange economy of the Bahamas.
Calling all contractors, your exclusive priority access to Grand Bahama Tiles pre-independent sale begins Monday, July 7 for one day only. With personalized service, come in and enjoy all the discounts at your leisure before the crowd arrives. See you Monday, July 7 for your exclusive pre-independent sale access.
So you want a space. But not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?
If you enjoy watching Beyond the Headlines, take advantage of our exclusive offers with 4 15-minute interview segments at $1,200 and 20 30-second TV ads at $2,000. Contact 557-0258 or 557-0259 for more information. Go beyond with Beyond the Headlines.
It's the only country in this hemisphere that never did that.
Welcome back to Beyond the
Who had
Headlines. Just before the break,
They
you
are
saw a
retailers.
story on the DNA saying that they will sit this election out. However, they will be back. Gentlemen, your thoughts about that? Your thoughts about them saying, you know what, let's just sit here and let's watch this play out. Then we can come back.
Well, it's no surprise, Shanique. I mean,
The
the referee has gone. The count has been made. The stadium is empty. The knows there. We know that they was not in this running for this general election. It would be a total waste of time, waste of funds, and waste of people's resources to even think about that. So we knew that long time. The referee already left the ring, made the count.
Gone.
Yeah.
Listen, the leader, Komalafi, the leader of that camp, been gone. She gone to the FN trying to win a seat down in Carmichael, and that ain't happen. She could forget that one, so she got another beating again. All right, and luckily she didn't take any with her. She leave all them behind and gone. Now, how do you trust someone like that to go on Camp Michael? Who keep residing the party when push comes to shove? I wouldn't even mention them, man.
No, I'm surprised to even see them in the news, because truly the DNA has been a non-factor for quite some time. They've not been vocal or visible.
And if you say your problem is the PLP and the FNM, why? I mean, that is the problem right there. We can't come together. Everybody wants to be chief. If you want to form a third party, why all the factions that is tired of the PLP can't come together? Well, then forget it. It's not going to happen. You're going to have the two parties. You're going to have the Progressive Liberal Party, which has its base, and the Free National Movement for a long time. If you all can't come together and unify yourself for a cause, forget it.
I won't be leader. Forget your credentials. Forget your inability to get anything done. I'm in charge. That's all it is. Ego thing. Okay, that's why this little fringe group never get nowhere.
Gentlemen,
he was by far the most successful one. By far.
Gentlemen, the Royal Caribbean International Beach Club Resort on Paradise Island is nearing completion. In fact, Royal Caribbean Cruise Line's president, Philip Simon, here in the Bahamas at that project, is boasting that they are even beating the December deadline, and now they're taking bookings. That's just how far ahead they are, which is awesome. Let's just look at what this resort is promising. There's a whole lot of things that's happening. For example, let's just start with the fact that the entire executive team, from the president to general manager to every other executive, vice president, and all the rest of it, are Bahamians.
So this is really something to be admired. That for the first time in the history of our country, you have a major international conglomerate that has hired, I guess you could say, all Bahamian staff to complete the project, to manage the project, with some 200 Bahamians being employed on a full-time basis and an extra 350 Bahamians being added to the amount of persons that they would have employed with them. Then the contribution they're going to make to the Bahamas over a 10-year period will exceed $1 billion in income for the Bahamian and the public treasury. In addition to that, they are now ahead of schedule. They're supposed to open in December. They're taking orders now. One got assumed between October and November is when they're looking at opening.
Yeah.
I think Philip Simon has done a wonderful job, and the team that he has must be congratulated. And I would wish that the Ministry of Tourism would work hand in hand with them. But in addition to that, it's a 49-51 ownership for Bahamians.
That is amazing.
That's the most important aspect.
Yeah,
that for the first time in our history, you're going to have
Bahamians
real ownership,
are going to have ownership of,
between a foreign entity and the Bahamian people.
The investment opportunity that is right now being that's now right now being planned and put in place is going to obviously open up where Bahamians can buy shares and have ownership. Imagine a brand that is as global and as successful as Royal Caribbean. This is an awesome opportunity.
And not only the 49% that Leslie alluded to, I read where they talked about the 49% and then an additional 1% which will be to go around refurbishing our historical sites and antiquities and monuments.
Which is so good, Ellington, to further enhance the tourist product.
Yes.
Because it's in desperate need of enhancement.
And let me say, I've always had some kind of intrepidation about these cruise ship having these little private keys and stuff like that.
That's right.
I think over the years it has been taken away from what I know the industry used to be like. Of course, we've lost a lot of stuff. We've lost a lot of nightlife and entertainment, and I've gradually seen the cruise ship been taking over the whole place as a tourist destination. They've become almost a destination in and of themselves, and now moving away from the mainland to the Keys. But this particular arrangement with Royal Caribbean, I think it's a very good one. It looks good on paper based on what they're promising to do, and I would love to see it all come true and continue as good faith as corporate citizens, and hopefully others can follow suit, and we can do some more things like this that will include more Bahamians, cause more entrepreneurship, empowering.
Let's speak about that, Ellington and Leslie, because that's amazing right there.
Yeah.
That not just the people working there, whether they in executive positions, which again, historic for the first time, all Bahamian executives, but the fact is what they are tapping into the creatives and those who are using their skills to make product, whether it's drinks or whatever it may be, to then now come to almost like a village-like area to be able to operate their own businesses on that property on Paradise Island.
But in addition to that, the contribution they are making for the environment, okay, they have exceeded all of the requirements placed on them by the Ministry of the Environment, and is going to exceed all the invasive species that was on that island has been taken off, and it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful destination to go to, and Bahamians are going to be invited to go and spend the weekends there and have a nice time. I think it's a wonderful thing.
They're also going to be able to take advantage of the day away. You're right.
Is we now have direct ownership in a global entity, and that to me is a fantastic thing. I hope that this will be the template for the government now for these other cruise ships that come in here looking to buy islands. Okay, that we will have a 50-50 partnership with all of them.
Absolutely.
Because we only got one Bahamas.
Absolutely.
And it's time we get involved in a meaningful way. And this is the template for meaningful progress on behalf of the Bahamian
in the tourism product, because it's a
$1
billion industry, but one that Bahamians have only sort of dabbled in here and there. They've not owned any significant part of the tourism industry. And so this is a wonderful opportunity. Again, we're just happy to continue highlighting this because the news just came out late yesterday about the significant milestone and achievement that this RCI Paradise Island has made, Beach Club has made.
And again, with all Bahamian team.
All Bahamian team, from the president and all the executives, all Bahamian. And so what they're doing again is opening for new businesses. Not only that, but of course, environmentally friendly and being sure to observe any environmental requirements that they would have there on that property, and just so much more. Now, of course, you know, we know that there was some sort of distraction and detractors recently. We hope that maybe that has been stemmed.
I hope that I heard the argument back and forth, and I hope that they're making some arrangement. We heard the representative from Royal Caribbean when they were here. They were open to making arrangement with the other party. And so I would love to see that happen. I love to see that marriage, and more the merrier. He can expand, he can feed all off of that, and that would be a good thing. So
you know, when you consider
let's hope
the
that
fact
something happens.
That Atlantis, Bahama, has no Bahamian involvement, no entity, no equity in those projects. Toby Smith is, I guess some may say he's been a thorn in their side. They may say the guy is a maverick and he wants to make a contribution. But the size and the magnitude of this project, talk about a multi-million-dollar conglomerate, he probably doesn't have the wherewithal financially to bring that size of project to fruition. And these are serious international investors. And, you know, hopefully they can work with him and work out some sort of situation that he would get some benefits.
I think that's been on the table. I do remember Philip Simon has been on this show more than once. He's talked about what's on the table, and it's to this point, as far as we know, been rejected. But again, you all make excellent points, because what this does, it benefits when it benefits the majority, meaning more people can actually benefit from what's happening there. Then what are you to do?
No other resort in this country can claim that. No other resort in this country that Bahamians have a stake, financial stake.
And this, Shanique, should be a template going forward for our leaders in negotiating with people for resorts or other cruise entities, when we talk about bringing in foreign business. It's time that Bahamians begin to move forward. It's time that our leaders be
Use our land as
deliberate
equity.
about helping to empower Bahamian and making this happen. The Bahamas is for Bahamians.
Yes.
When we're bringing anything here, any investment that comes here, it is for the betterment of the Bahamas and the Bahamian people.
was the policy
if it ain't
of
better
the
in our
Cylinder
lives,
government.
we really don't need it. We don't
Exactly.
care how pretty
Exactly.
it look, how large it look. If it's not bettering Bahamian lives, it's not needed in this country.
Instead of
That's
these
the bottom
meaningless
line.
jobs that we get. But that was the policy of Lyndon Pillen and Arahan and those, God bless them. That was their policy, that we use our land as equity. When we formed the Bahamas Development Corporation in 1974, that was our mandate, that we use our property, okay, to attract foreign investment, and we have our equity. This is the first time that is being followed. We got to congratulate also the Honorable Prime Minister and the Minister of Tourism for a job well done, because it was his initiative and his input to see to it that equity was granted to Bahamians. We paid for it, but at least we have a piece of the pie now. It's a wonderful thing.
Again, congratulations. You're right. All those people that Leslie called. Certainly, of course, to Philip Simon for leading already, leading such a wonderful initiative to the point now that they are having bookings, and it's not something that's exclusive only to foreigners. Bahamians too have an opportunity to go on the Key or on the island and enjoy and
great getaway.
Yeah, have a wonderful day away as well. But it's just good to share
And
that.
have
bit of news.
ownership.
And to have ownership. More importantly, y'all
Most important.
look out for
Ownership.
that. Look out and listen
Ownership.
out for that, because that's also quite
Ownership.
promising. Yes, thank you so much. I want to thank, of course, at the top of tonight's show, former Deputy Prime Minister Desmond Bannister, who joined me. And then, of course, in the last two segments, thank you so much to Leslie Miller and Ellington Ferguson. Thank you, gentlemen, as well. And I want to say a big thank you to all of you this evening. Thank you so much for joining in. I look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.